Hi guys, so I wanted to bring you a video today. I get a lot of questions regarding the tripod setup that you see here on this rifle. Through social media and photographs that I've posted of this setup, I get a lot of questions on, hey, how'd you do that? I'm looking to do the same thing, and honestly, it's pretty easy. You just got to be a little bit creative in what you do and how you do it. But this is a Surui T025X. You can't really see it because the gun's in the way here. Let me swap over and maybe you can see the model from the side. So that's the model of the tripod. It's a carbon fiber tripod. Picked it up on Amazon. It's not cheap, a couple $100, but it's carbon fiber. It weighs 1.7 pounds. Extremely adjustable, and the beauty of this particular setup is that it's incredibly stable, much more so than any bipod. If you'll look back, I'll kind of pan out. Right now that tripod is supporting the entire weight of the rifle. Now granted, this is not a heavy rifle. It's a carbon fiber stock, carbon fiber barrel. The gun weighs about 8.5 pounds set up as you see it. So it's not a real heavy rifle, but it does support the weight of the rifle completely right now as it stands, and that's awesome. From a shooting perspective, you don't need to really preload it at all. It gives you an incredibly stable platform. You still need to support the rear of the rifle when shooting. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of bounce in it, but it's much more sturdy than, say, a bipod, and I've got this bipod here for comparison. The tripod itself, like I said, weighs about 1.7 pounds. This bipod weighs about a pound, so about, not quite double the weight of the Harris bipod. But to be honest with you, the reason I built this setup is because I carry this tripod with me everywhere I go when I'm hunting. This is a hunting setup primarily for me. I always take a tripod. I always have. And I've got tired of carrying a lot of weight on my rifle. I had this giant Harris bipod. It was actually bigger than this one. It was about the same weight as this, that you could shoot when you were, sitting or kneeling or something like that. But I always carried a tripod because that's how I hunt. I glass a lot. I spend a lot of time behind binoculars and behind a spotting scope. And the only way that you can do that for any length of time is with a good tripod. And so I picked up this lightweight tripod, actually as kind of a backpacking / hunting tripod for glassing game. And I decided I wanted to turn it into, a shooting system. So essentially, what's awesome about this is I've got quick detach plates that literally the twist of the thumb screw right here. I can mount my binoculars to this. I can mount my spotting scope to this. And I can use this as a glassing platform. And in seconds, I can untwist this, detach my spotting scope, throw on my rifle, and we're ready to go. We're ready to shoot. I carry this in my backpack, carry this on my shoulder, and if I have to take a shot where I need to, need a support, it literally just takes seconds to deploy this and put it on. Not quite as fast as the Harris, because obviously this is attached to the gun permanently and you just fold down the legs and you're ready to go. The difference being is this is infinitely more adjustable. You can shoot downhill, you can shoot uphill, you can shoot seating, you can shoot prone, you can shoot kneeling, you can shoot standing. This actually has a center section that stands about 10 inches tall, I believe, and it actually extends even more. It'll probably, try to back up, it's probably this high once it's extended. And with the twist off legs, you can shoot standing. I'm a tall guy. I'm 6 foot 6 inches tall, and I can shoot standing off of this tripod if I needed to. Now, obviously, it's not a really stable platform. I wouldn't shoot 500 yards that far. But if you had some tall brush you had to shoot over and it was only a couple hundred yards, oh yeah, easily. So I'm going to show you how I mounted this. I've got another gun here set up. I'm going to set the camera down for just a moment so I can show you the mounts and how this is set up. So bear with me for a second here. So literally it's just, a couple twists of the thumb screw and this comes off and you're completely set up. And I'm actually going to show you right now this other gun and how to set it up. So get here in the camera. This right here, you can see there's a quick detach plate just mounted to the bottom of the gun. This is an M-LOK bipod adapter made by Midwest Industries, and this screws right into the bottom of the, it's got the little M-LOK attachment. And all I did was unscrew the swivel stud and screw in a bolt into this plate with the same threads as the swivel stud, which are 10/32, if anybody wanted to know. 10/32 bolt screw it up into this, tighten it down nice and tight. This thing's locked in there, it's not going anywhere. This will mount onto the tripod in just as quick a fashion. That fast. And now we have a mount for this 6.5 Grendel is what this is calibered in, this AR. So obviously it supports the weight of the rifle. This rifle weighs a little bit more. This is about an 11-pound rifle, and that's also why I've moved this back here instead of in the front. This just supports the weight of the rifle a little bit better for this heavy of a rifle. And you know, it would work up front. You certainly can, but why not keep it there? I don't usually put my hand there. That is the one downfall of having this, is that if you do decide to put your hand here, you've got this quick detach plate in the way. But I've got the AFG up here, which I don't usually keep my hands right here. So it works really well with this rifle as well. So let's talk about the mounts a little bit. I'm going to take this off for just a second. And I'm actually going to show you the one on the rifle here, and we'll talk about it. So this is actually just a quick detach plate. I picked up this quick detach plate on Amazon. I think it was like 10 bucks. And essentially it had a swivel stud also mounted to the bottom of it right here. I just unscrewed the swivel stud. That one actually had a nut on it on the other side of it. The swivel stud did, so this isn't actually threaded. But I unscrewed the swivel stud, and then I just bolted this quick release plate on. I had to use some washers here for spacers so that this nut, you can see the nut under here, so there was clearance for this, the picatinny crossbar, or whatever you want to call it. So essentially what I did is I took the swivel stud off of this. This is actually threaded one, and my buddy's got a drill press and a tap set, and we just drilled into this, tapped it, and then I just mounted the swivel stud in there so that I have an attachment point, because on my rifle here there's no swivel stud now, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. So essentially really simple, $10, and obviously I had to buy an extra quick release plate. This is actually the one that came with the tripod. It's a little bit larger than the one that's mounted on my Grendel over there, and I wanted this one on my long range rifles. It's a little bit wider, and it sits in there and it locks down just a little tighter. The other one's fine. This one's just a little bit more real estate on it. Makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about it. But bolt this on to the quick release plate. This obviously literally just fits right into the picatinny rail that I've got mounted on my gun, and locks down. And now that's essentially, I've got a swivel stud that I can run my sling on, and now we're good to go. Now this will mount right up into my tripod, as I shown you before. One last thing that I want to show you here is mounting a picatinny rail onto the rifle itself, which there's plenty of videos how to do that. All I did was, this is actually a plastic one. I lopped off the back of it so that it was nice and flat right here, just because I didn't need the extra hardware on there. And essentially pulled the swivel stud off, used a screw with the same threads, 10/32, bolted it into the swivel stud, drilled the hole out here. I actually got a little bit offline, installed a T-nut and bolted this into the T-nut, and it's on there rock solid. The nice thing about that is if I choose to, for any reason, use the Harris bipod, we can use that. You may say, oh, that doesn't look like a Harris. Well, it's a Harris. It is a Harris. It's got the Alamo 4-star D-lock quick detach with their little knob here. It's kind of tight, so I'll have to maybe loosen it up a little bit. But this is a swivel. Highly recommend it. Swivels. And then it also has the Hawk Hill feet on it. Those are incredible. Big time upgrade for this Harris bipod. I like it, but I'll tell you what, once you shoot with the tripod, there's no comparison whatsoever. Absolutely night and day difference. So what do you need to do this project for your guns? Depends on what you got. If you've got a long range gun and you've got the double swivels up here, it's really easy to install a rail. They offer those. You can buy those just about anywhere, Midway, Brownells, whatever the case may be. This is simply a Magpul 2-hole spaced picatinny rail. Like I said, I just used a 10/32 bolt, bolted it into the existing swivel stud location, drilled in install the T-nut, which can be purchased from any hardware store inside the stock. It's a little more difficult process. You gotta bore that out for that T-nut a little bit, but it's not bad. There's tons of videos on how to do that. Pretty easy, actually. So get the rail installed, and then, like I said, this piece was $10 off Amazon. You want to get one that you can make sure you can unscrew the swivel stud for, and so that you can bolt on your quick release plate. And you can use any tripod. I like this one because it's really light, it's really compact, it's really versatile. I've got it set up for all my different parts, and that's pretty much it. You know, this one, like I said, I used the Midwest Industries bipod adapter, which bolts right into any M-lock handguard that's got the M-lock channels on it. And same thing, I just unscrewed the swivel, used a 10/32 bolt to bolt on this quick release plate, and we're good to go. And like I said, I mean, I can use this on any platform now. What's really great is that, like I said, you can use this this tripod with any, you know, in any shooting position, prone, kneeling. You know, it's great for shooting downhill or uphill. There's 3 different adjustments here. I'll see if I can show you that real quick. I'll take this off. There's 3 different adjustments on that tripod itself for height in the legs. So we'll unscrew the grindle here, set it down, and I'll show you. I can essentially, so just a lever lock is all it is. So there's one position. Obviously you saw the lowest, and then there's the highest position. Obviously, the more spread out the legs are, the more stable you're going to be, but if you need the height, you can use it. This thing is extremely, this pan head is just really awesome. It's very fluid, it's very stable, and man, you lock that thing down right there and it's not going to move at all. There's no movement in it whatsoever. Obviously, I like to shoot with it in this position, and it doesn't take long to get it set up. I like to shoot with it low. This is the prone position that I shoot with it in, and it works great. You know, you can preload this forward a little bit. These rubber feet stick pretty nicely in just about any surface. Obviously, this smooth wood, it slides a little bit, but it's not bad. But I'll tell you, compared to the bipod, it's night and day difference. I like this bipod. I like the fact that, you know, the upgrades that I did to it really locks it down, but it's still nowhere near as adjustable as this. It's a similar weight. I carry it in my backpack all the time when I'm hunting, you know, and really honestly, to throw this on, it's that fast. It's on there. It's not going anywhere. You literally just throw it in there, hold it down, and like that, you're ready to go. And like I said, this thing will fully support the weight of the rifle. So it's pretty handy, pretty nifty. I really like this system. I hope you enjoy this video. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll be happy to help you out in designing your own system, your own tripod system, but it works really well. Highly recommend this. Again, that's the Sirui T025X bipod, and you can buy extra quick release plates on Amazon. The small ones like this one are pretty cheap, like 10 or 12 bucks maybe. The big ones like this one are like 26 bucks. It's still not bad, but as a whole, the shooting system works phenomenally well. So enjoy. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to help you out.